Alright, hello, and welcome to Camel Finance. I'm your boy Camel, and today I want to talk a little bit about bearishness, a little bit about Bitcoin adoption, a little bit about some technicals, what we can maybe expect to see in the stock market in the coming week. Equity markets are trading kind of strange, the chop continues, still no decisive decision has been made, so we're going to go through all that, some charts, live trades, expectations. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, sit back, relax, hit that like button, and let's get into this. 2022 was an insane year. You can see here is a list of all of the companies, the crypto companies that went bankrupt. Absolutely no shortage of bankruptcies. This was a historic year for Bitcoin. This was probably the most amount of blow-ups Bitcoin has ever seen. And it has left a lot of reasons to be bearish. It has left a lot of bearish overtones and sour tastes in people's mouths. And this month has seen over $500 million worth of Bitcoin short trading positions get liquidated as the price has increased. Over $151 million of leveraged Bitcoin shorts have been liquidated in the past 24 hours alone. Some of the move I think we're seeing is purely technical, but some of this move I think is also catalyzed by this big bullish news that Genesis has filed for BK protection. So, is this going to be a piece of FUD that just disappears and the market can shrug off? I've been saying for a while I think this whole Genesis thing was likely priced in already. It seems to be the case given where the price is moving. Old Capo here has been saying he's been checking the charts all the time, avoiding the noise from Twitter. High time frame resistance is being tested. It clearly looks manipulated. No real demand. I have to strongly disagree here. I have to absolutely strongly disagree. And even if this is true, it's still malpractice not to get long at a recapture of 18k. For me, that level was 17.6, each to their own. We'll get to the charts in just a bit. I wanted to point out a few things though, okay? Jordan here shows some true alpha, I believe. Underbelly breakout in this massive bullish bottoming signal. This is called all previous bear markets. So you can see here, we've got each cycle overlaid. We get this underbelly breakout, and that signified the end of the bear market. That's exactly what we have today, by the way. Doesn't mean we couldn't come lower, doesn't mean we couldn't pull back a bit, doesn't mean we couldn't retest some of the breakout levels. But for now, things look incredibly constructive for continued upside in Bitcoin. The king of cycles, Bob Lucas, says Bitcoin has formed a monthly time frame swing low. Given the 4-year cycle timing and swing low, he could see this as month one. He counts this as month one. And so you can see that here. Now is not the time, in my opinion, or in Bob Lucas's opinion, to be looking for lower lows. This should be the end to the bear market. Again, it's a market, anything can happen. It does not preclude a move lower. But for now, all the technicals continue to point to continued upside for the Bitcoin price. Bitcoin, by the way, has just surpassed the Bank of America and Morgan Stanley combined. This is a trend that I'm sure will continue as Bitcoin undergoes what I believe will be the most parabolic cycle it has ever seen. The most popular finance app, Cash App, has just added free and instant Bitcoin payments via Lightning Network. So again, this is continued adoption and we continue to see continued adoption. And speaking of continued adoption, Samsung is going to launch its mobile cryptocurrency wallet in 8 countries listed below here, as you can see. The big question about this for me is how long before Apple decides it's getting left behind? How long before Apple decides it can't wait to compete anymore? Over in Mississippi, they've introduced a bill to protect the right to run a node and mine Bitcoin. Again, continued adoption. This thing is only building momentum. It does not appear to be slowing in any way, shape or form. And speaking of Bitcoin mining, this is the world's first sustainable digital tumbler. It mines Bitcoin and makes whiskey in Canada using hydroelectric energy. So again, we continue to see this trend unfold as well. This trend being that Bitcoin incentivizes clean, renewable energy. Again, if you don't have free or nearly free energy and it's not clean and it's not renewable, then you have to pay more overheads and therefore it eats into your profits when you mine Bitcoin. Bitcoin, remember, is not bad for the environment. It is one of the cleanest renewable energy in the world. This is how secure Bitcoin is. Did you know this? Guessing one Bitcoin private key is like winning the Powerball lottery 9 times in a row. This is the odds of winning a Powerball lottery. And down here, guessing any Bitcoin private key with a balance and guessing a specific Bitcoin private key, many orders of magnitude higher than that. Over in the equity world, okay, investors remain in extreme fear, as you can see here. Way worse than the C19 plunge, way worse than the taper tantrum of 2018, way worse than the levels at 2009, 2008 during the great financial crisis. Options traders have bought way too many puts. They continue to expect this bear market to continue and drop into 2023. They know that a recession is around the corner. The Fed is raising rates into the recession. Layoffs are happening daily. Yet, the SPX, the S&P 500, refuses to drop. I wonder why. And it's because retail is never on the right side of the trade. I've been saying this over and over again on this channel. Again, it doesn't mean we couldn't see a move lower. But what this does mean is a move lower is currently the most expected move in the market. It's currently the most crowded trade in the market. Therefore, we should be open to seeing upside in the markets. The lower this indicator, the lesser the selling pressure in the market. Who's left to sell? And the answer is, of course, hardly anyone. Again, max pain is to the upside. You can see here, way worse than the C19 plunge, way worse than the taper tantrum in bloody October of 2018 into 2019. And lastly, before we get into the charts, this here is the advanced decline line in blue at the bottom. And this, of course, is the price at the top. What you can notice is as the advanced decline line makes lower highs, whilst the price of the S&P 500 makes higher highs, this is considered bearish divergence and is indicative of trend exhaustion. And of course, what followed was a downtrend, a trend reversal for the S&P 500. Today's look is the complete opposite. We have lower highs in the price and we have higher highs in the advanced decline line. Again, this is indicative of trend exhaustion and imminent trend reversal, meaning it's more than reasonable to expect upside in the equity markets over the coming weeks. Hopping into the charts, the dollar continues to not be able to hold this massive blue support line that has been such good support for such a long time. If I take this off a log, it will fit better. There you go. So the dollar continues to be even weaker than I thought. I thought some level of counter trend bounce out of this would be the most expected path. I also thought that if we didn't get a counter trend bounce, we would at least get this kind of chop. So maybe that's what we're going to get around this level. Maybe that's what we're going to get before we break down. I don't know. That remains to be seen. But for now, if this is going to continue, then I don't know how anyone can be bullish on the dollar. The US 10-year yield still in a downtrend, although some chop around these lows hasn't quite sliced through this. Maybe we're going to get a counter trend bounce before rolling over. If that's the sort of thing we can expect, then I would suspect risk is going to come on very strongly. Again, one day at a time as ever. The 2-year yield, same sort of story. It's definitely losing levels, but it's not breaking down erratically just yet. Quite orderly so far. Bitcoin, the bull of all bulls, continues to press up, continues to leave the bears in disbelief. Does not mean we couldn't come back down. Does not mean that possibly we couldn't expect a pullback over the coming weeks. But for now, we're long from 17.6. We're strong. We continue to push. If I flip this into log scale and reset the chart, what you will notice is we are now making our way to the final repair. This purple dashed line, if I zoom out, you will see on a log scale connects all of these highs from back here. This to me is the final line of repair for Bitcoin. All we have to do is hold this level. It doesn't mean we couldn't back test and then go, but so long as we're above this, I would say we can, with near certainty, say the bear market lows are in, the bear market has come to an end, and we have a new cycle ahead of us. This fractal here that seems insane, we seem to be outpacing that already. Does that mean we can expect some sort of pullback into this range again before we can go higher? I don't know. That remains to be seen, but for now, anyone that thought this fractal was crazy seems to be left in disbelief. And the Bitcoin Wyckoff schematic, okay, the Wyckoff accumulation with the spring. Spring took a little longer than I thought, but undeniably, we've made it past the last point of support, and now we're into the buying up thrust and the last point of support at the sign of strength. So a little bit of chop round here, perhaps for a week or two, and then we can look to emerge. And if we can, I think that absolutely confirms that the end of the bear market is there as well. So all the signs continue to look really encouraging for Bitcoin. Ethereum continues to look constructive, natural resistance at this cluster of highs. Not really much to say about this, apart from long and strong continue to push. XRP, as I've been saying for a long time, break above 40 cents, break above this red line on a daily closing basis, and I would entertain going long. I'm currently long, although we have since pulled back underneath this line. The stop is down here, as you can see. I'm just going to continue to push this trade. If we spend more than a couple of days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, underneath this red line, I'll close this trade early and repeat this process. For now, though, I'm long XRP and looking to see what the market can give. MATIC still kind of doing a whole lot of nothing, still pushing this trade, so not much more to say about that. And here's Zcash as well, still pushing this trade, so again, not much more to say about that other than long and strong. Hopping into gold. Gold absolutely refuses to break down, as you can see, refuses to give us a cycle low, probably because the dollar has been so weak. So not much to say about this. I do expect a pullback, some kind of shakeout, perhaps a retest of this purple upward sloping trend line here. But if it's not going to do that and it's just going to melt straight up here, I'm more than happy with that, which is where I'm looking to take my profit around 2050. Silver, nice consolidation, still testing this range, isn't it? Still won't break up or down from here. So not much to say about this, apart from continue to play patient, looking for a breakout above this blue box here at about 24.2. And then I'll be willing to take a long, targeting the top of this range at around $30. Whilst we're in the precious metals, still pushing the miners. So again, not much more to say about these, apart from long and strong continue to push. Tesla is starting to look constructive. We have had what seems to be, to me, a breakout, a retest, and now looking for that resumption higher. So I think they've got earnings coming out. What date is that? Wednesday this week. So we'll see what these earnings can do. This really could go overweight. I have no expectations. I haven't even been paying attention to the earnings. I am purely a technical trader. So I would suspect the charts are telling me that we could expect earnings to be okay, given that we've got breakout retest and looking for a resumption higher. But of course, it doesn't mean that they couldn't be bad and this couldn't end up rolling over and getting stopped out. Either way, I will let you know and make sure I update you to any changes to this position if they occur. Marathon, long and strong, continue to push. Same deal as Riot. Of course, these are both blockchain stocks. These are both benefiting from Bitcoin's bullishness at the moment. Same is true of MicroStrategy, as you can see here. MicroStrategy continues to push up and apparently tried to leave behind a bottom. Same is true of Coinbase. Coinbase continues to push up. So as long as Bitcoin can continue, I'm sure these four will also continue as well. UKX, still holding this red line in the sand for me. A breakdown of this red line, as I've said multiple times, will be me out of this trade. I don't want to be anywhere near this trade if it's going to break down and lose that level of support. We can also connect these highs here, here, and perhaps here. So maybe that's what we've got going on. For now though, long and strong continue to push, still targeting a touch of this red resistance line here at around 8,500 if we can continue to see bullishness out of the UK equity markets. The VIX, look at the VIX, super interesting chart. Again, does not speak to a stock market plunge. If it had broken out of here, if we had seen something like this, then we of course would expect massive weakness from the equity markets and the S&P 500. That's just not what we've seen so far. The volatility continues to be compressed, continues to make its way down into the teens, currently on a 19 handle. Obviously things can change and they can change quickly, but as of right now, they haven't changed just yet. Dow Jones still respecting this cluster of support back here, so that's nice to see. Again, this is kind of no man's land, isn't it? Between this downward sloping red resistance line and this highs from back here, kind of in no man's land. So all of this amounts to essentially nothing. If you are a bear, then you absolutely want to see this break down, lose these lows here and come back down inside of this downward sloping red resistance line. However, if your expectation is bullish like mine is, hence the current long, then I am looking for a break above this red line right here. So it'd be interesting to see what happens to the Dow at this moment in time. The NASDAQ right into this resistance line. Is it about time for me to be entertaining longs this week? This is something I'm keeping my eye very close on, especially if we can get breakout retest resumption. That will be a long from me all day long. Does not mean that we couldn't roll over and get rejected here, and doesn't mean we couldn't do that strongly. If you're a bear, that's what you want to see. But remember, whether you're bullish or bearish, no matter what your stance is, we break out of here, and that has to be respected. S&P 500. I talked about two scenarios. I said, I wonder if we either get a bull trap that then comes down and makes a new low into this cycle low. And I also said, if not, I wonder if we get a bear trap that then ends up breaking out. So the question for me is it the second scenario playing out? Is that what's going to happen? Are we about to see the S&P 500 break out with the NASDAQ? Are we about to see this? In which case, that will be a long from me, of course. I've been calling this weeks in advance. However, we cannot at this point, because we're still in no man's land, rule out rejection at resistance, followed by a breakdown and a drop into a cycle low. We can't rule that out either. So again, all of this, for me, counts as no man's land. But I am very, very interested in taking a long if we can get a breakout of this blue downward sloping resistance line that you can see goes all the way back to the start of the year. So very, very interesting developments in the charts. Bitcoin is extraordinarily bullish, more bullish than I think most people were anticipating. The equity markets still refusing to really do anything, just chopping around, but they probably will make a decision this week, I would think. I would think this week it's reasonable to expect a breakout or a breakdown. We'll find out. My expectation, my bias is leaning towards bullishness, and the only reason for that really is because there's just too many shorts. There's too much retail that's bearish at the moment. This is the same deal for Bitcoin as well. Too many Bitcoin bears are waiting for one final dip to 10, 12, 14K to go all in. Too many of them are sidelined, and therefore the path of most pain, in my mind, is higher. I'm also quite surprised at the dollar weakness. I really thought the dollar would get at least some kind of counter trend bounce by now, but it's just getting absolutely crushed. So it's going to be a very, very interesting week. I'm excited to see what can happen. I'm excited to see what can unfold. If you want to continue to get updates on all of my trades, win, lose, if you want to make sure you stay up to date on all of my modifications, if I make them to my positions, if you want to continue to get call outs and setups called well in advance, then make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn the notifications on. If you found value here today, I'd appreciate it if you could drop a like on the video. I hope you had a lovely weekend. I hope you're looking forward to the week as much as I am. In the meantime, take care of yourselves. All the best from me. Cheers. Bye.